The sun was sinking behind the cracked skyline of Los Angeles, painting the streets in shades of orange and dust. The city buzzed with noise engines, sirens, and the hum of lives struggling to survive. On the corner of 5th and Alameda, beneath an overpass littered with graffiti and trash, sat Marcus Ghostwalker, a homeless man wrapped in an old military jacket. His eyes, deep and sharp, told stories his silence refused to share. He didn't beg. He didn't talk. He just sat, a cup by his side, a stray dog at his feet, and the weight of memories heavier than the duffel bag he carried. Most people passed him by, assuming he was just another broken soul lost to the streets, but Marcus wasn't always this way. That night, a black SUV pulled up near the alley where Marcus slept. 3 men stepped out, local gang members, dressed in flashy jackets and arrogance. Their laughter echoed as they walked toward him. "Yo, old man," one of them called out, kicking Marcus's cup. "You think you can just sit here on our corner?" Marcus didn't move. His dog growled low. The tallest gangster, a man with gold teeth and tattoos crawling up his neck, shoved him. "I'm talking to you, bum." Still, no response. Another kick sent Marcus's duffel bag rolling open. Inside, a few folded clothes, a worn Bible, and a faded photograph of a young man in uniform beside a group of Marines. The leader laughed. "A Marine, huh? What happened, soldier boy? Couldn't handle it?" Marcus finally looked up. His voice was calm but carried the weight of command. "Walk away." The gangsters froze for a second. Something in his tone wasn't normal. It wasn't fear. It was control. But pride blinded them. Gold Teeth smirked and reached for his gun. "You got a death wish, old man?" Marcus sighed. "No. But you might." The moment the gangster's hand twitched toward his waistband, Marcus moved. It was a blur, years of combat training erupting like lightning. In less than 3 seconds, the first man's gun was on the ground, his arm twisted behind his back. The second swung a pipe. Marcus ducked, elbowed him in the ribs, and swept his legs. The third froze, stunned by what he just saw. Marcus stood tall, eyes burning, the streetlight reflecting off the Marine Corps dog tags around his neck. "I fought men with rifles and tanks," he said quietly. "You're not even close." The gangsters stumbled away, limping, leaving their weapons behind. The SUV screeched off into the distance. The commotion drew attention. A few nearby shop owners came out. Among them was a young woman named Lena, who ran a food stall nearby. She'd always noticed Marcus sitting silently, sometimes feeding stray dogs, sometimes watching the sunset like it was the only thing left worth looking at. She approached cautiously. "Are you okay?" Marcus nodded, sitting back down like nothing happened. Lena looked at the dog tags glinting on his chest. "You were really a Marine?" He didn't answer right away. Then, softly, once. "A long time ago." He told her pieces of his story, how he served in Afghanistan, how he lost his brothers in an ambush, how coming home felt harder than the war itself. His family was gone, his mind haunted. He drifted, one city to another, until he ended up here, invisible, forgotten. But tonight, his ghosts had awoken. Word spread fast about the homeless Marine who took down 3 armed thugs barehanded. The story reached a local veterans outreach officer, who came searching for him the next morning. With Lena's help, they found Marcus again, sitting by his fire barrel. The officer, a fellow Marine named Captain Reed, recognized him instantly. "Walker." "Marcus Walker? I served with Bravo Company. You trained some of my men." Marcus looked up, surprised. "Brother, what the hell are you doing out here? You should have been training recruits or teaching self-defense." Marcus gave a faint smile. Guess life had other plans. Reed knelt beside him. "Then let's make new ones." Weeks later, the underpass was empty except for fresh graffiti reading, "Semper Fi, the Ghost Lives." Marcus had joined a local veterans rehab program and was teaching self-defense to homeless vets and at-risk teens. The same streets that once swallowed him now echoed with his voice, calm, strong, and steady, guiding others to stand tall again. As the sun dipped behind the skyline once more, Lena watched from across the street, smiling. Marcus stood tall in a clean jacket, dog tags shining, not as a homeless man anymore, but as what he had always been. Never judge a man by his appearance. Some heroes don't wear medals, they carry their battles in silence. This continues right after Marcus starts rebuilding his life. It deepens the story with emotion, redemption, and an epic confrontation. The rain came down hard that night. Los Angeles streets shimmered like mirrors, neon lights bleeding through puddles, reflecting the chaos of the city. Marcus Ghostwalker stood beneath the awning of a rundown gym, locking up after his last self-defense class. Inside, a group of teens laughed and high-fived, their confidence renewed. Marcus watched them go, a quiet pride in his eyes. For the first time in years, he felt purpose again. But peace never lasts long on the streets. Elsewhere in the city, Dante Gold Teeth Rivera sat in a smoky warehouse, nursing the memory of his humiliation. The beating he took from a homeless man, a Marine, had spread through the neighborhood like wildfire. His reputation was gone. He slammed his fist on the table. "We're not letting this slide." I don't care if he's a damn Navy SEAL, he made me look weak. A younger thug spoke up nervously, boss, he's teaching kids now. Vets are backing him. Cops too. Dante glared. Then we hit him harder. We remind everyone who runs these streets. The next morning, Marcus found a note pinned to the gym door, you should have stayed under that bridge, Marine. He sighed, folding it carefully. He didn't need to ask who it came from. He knew men like Dante, he'd seen them overseas and at home, they were all the same, insecure, power wrapped in loud violence. Lena walked up with coffee and noticed the note. They're coming back, aren't they? Marcus looked at her and smiled faintly. They'll try. She frowned. You can't fight them alone. He nodded. I don't plan to. Not this time. That night, the gang made their move. Marcus was walking his dog through a narrow alley near the gym when headlights flashed and engines roared. 3 cars boxed him and doors slammed. 6 men stepped out, bats, chains, and pistols gleaming under the streetlight. Dante emerged last, grinning. Look who's out of uniform. You thought you could embarrass me and just walk free? Marcus set down his duffel bag slowly. I don't want trouble. Dante smirked. Too late. The first swing came fast, a bat aimed for Marcus's ribs. He ducked, countered, disarmed. A second man charged, thrown against the car hood. Gunshots echoed. Marcus rolled behind a dumpster, pulled out a small combat knife, his old Marine blade. He didn't aim to kill, just to survive. Within seconds, chaos erupted, screams, clanging metal, and the dull thud of fists. When it ended, 3 men were unconscious, 1 limping away, and Dante frozen, gun trembling in his hand. Marcus walked toward him slowly. You ever fired that thing? Dante's hand shook. Stay back. Marcus stopped just inches away. You don't have to do this. You can walk away before it's too late. For a moment, something human flickered in Dante's eyes. Then pride took over. He raised the gun, but the bullet never reached its mark. A police siren wailed nearby. Red and blue lights flooded the alley. Dante panicked, tossed the gun, and ran, leaving his men behind. Hours later, Marcus sat on the curb, bruised but alive. Detective Hernandez, a veteran herself, crouched beside him. I've seen a lot of street fights, she said, but not one like this. You could have killed them. Marcus shook his head. I've buried enough people already. She nodded, almost respectfully. You ever think of putting that training to use again? Maybe help us clean up this neighborhood? Marcus glanced at the blood-stained ground, then up at the gym sign, Walker's Warriors, strength, honor, discipline. He smiled faintly. Yeah. I think I already started. Weeks passed. The gang was dismantled. Dante arrested after one of his own turned on him. The community changed. Kids who once feared the streets now trained under Marcus. He taught them not just how to fight, but how to stand up for themselves, for others. Lena often watched from the doorway as Marcus led warm-ups, wasn't just a Marine anymore. He was a mentor, a protector, a symbol. One evening, as the sun set behind the skyline, she asked softly, do you ever miss the man you used to be? Marcus looked at the students, laughing, sparring, rebuilding what he once lost. No, he said. I think I finally became him again. Camera pans out. The same corner where he once sat homeless is now clean, painted with a mural, a Marine saluting with the words Semper Fi, the ghost lives on. Marcus stands beneath it, his silhouette outlined by the golden light. The city hums around him, but this time, it's peaceful, because the ghost isn't hiding anymore. He's home, even in the darkest corners. A warrior's light never dies, it only waits for the right battle to shine again. The city had changed, but not enough. 3 months after the fall of Dante's crew, Los Angeles still trembled under the grip of something darker. The streets were quieter, yes, but whispers spread. A new player had stepped in. One that made even the gangs nervous. Marcus Ghostwalker could feel it. He'd been through too many wars not to recognize the calm before a storm. He started with a fire. One night, Marcus was closing his gym when sirens screamed through the streets. He ran outside the small community center 3 blocks away was up in flames. The same place where Lena volunteered with kids. He sprinted into the smoke without hesitation. Inside, chaos. Screaming. Heat. Marcus covered his face, kicking through debris, dragging people to safety one by one. He found Lena unconscious near the exit, carried her out just as the roof began to collapse. As paramedics took her away, Marcus stood watching the flames. His fists clenched. On the sidewalk, he found a spray-painted mark, a black serpent coiled around a skull. He'd seen that symbol before, years ago, in Kandahar. The next day, Marcus received an unexpected visitor. Detective Hernandez, wearing plain clothes and a serious expression. We need to talk, she said. In her car. She handed him a file. Photos. Names, the Black Serpent Syndicate, an international weapons and narcotics network moving through the West Coast. Ruthless, organized, and led by a man known only as Rex. Hernandez continued, we've been after these guys for 2 years. But they're military trained. Whoever runs them knows tactics, Marine tactics. We think your old unit's been compromised. Marcus stared at the file, silent. We want you to help us, Walker, she said. Not as a cop, as a Marine. He closed the folder slowly. You don't need a soldier. You need a ghost. That night, Marcus opened his old duffel bag, the same one he once kept under a bridge. Inside, his Marine dog tags, combat gloves, and a folded American flag. He took a deep breath and strapped on his gear. Semper Fi, he whispered. Working with Hernandez and a small off-the-books task force, Marcus used his street connections and combat instincts to track the Black Serpent Syndicate. They hit stash houses, safe houses, and hidden ports every time. The Serpent slipped away, leaving only bodies and coded messages. But one night, they captured a courier. Under interrogation, he cracked, you don't get it, man. Rex ain't scared of cops, he's one of you. Ex-military. Ex-Marine, just like him. Marcus froze. His heart sank. He knew then who Rex was. Years ago, in Afghanistan, Marcus's squad leader was Captain Samuel Rex Kellen, decorated, brilliant, and fearless. But after their unit was ambushed, Kellen disappeared. Officially, MIA. Marcus had always blamed himself for that mission's failure. Now he realized the truth. Kellen had survived and become something far worse. Marcus tracked Rex to an abandoned shipyard near Long Beach, a fortress of steel containers and armed guards. He moved like a shadow, disabling sentries silently. When he reached the central warehouse, he saw him, Rex, older but still sharp, giving orders like a general. Marcus stepped out of the shadows. Long time, Captain. Rex turned slowly, a smirk forming. Walker. I wondered when you'd find me. You did this, Marcus growled. Kids, families, you burned them alive. Rex laughed softly. You think this city can be saved? We served our country, Ghost. And what did we get? A sleeping bag under a bridge. I built something that matters. Marcus's jaw tightened. You built an army of killers. Survivors, Rex corrected. Same thing. The warehouse erupted in chaos, gunfire, explosions, hand-to-hand combat. Marcus fought like a force of nature, using every ounce of Marine discipline and street instinct. He disarmed soldiers, neutralized threats, and finally came face-to-face with Rex on the rooftop. Rain pouring down, Rex pulled a knife. Let's see if the legend still got it. The two men clashed, blade against blade, Marine against Marine. Every move was a memory. Every strike, a ghost from the past. Finally, Marcus disarmed him, pinning him down. You had everything, Marcus said through clenched teeth. You could have saved people. Rex sneered. And for what? To die forgotten? Marcus looked into his eyes, not with anger, but pity. Better forgotten than corrupted. He stepped back as police sirens surrounded the port. Hernandez and her team stormed in. Rex was taken, snarling. Days later, Marcus stood by Lena's bedside as she recovered. She opened her eyes and smiled weakly. You did it, she whispered. He nodded. We did. She squeezed his hand. You're still a soldier, you know. Just fighting a different kind of war. Marcus looked out the window, the city skyline glowing in the dawn. Maybe she was right. At sunrise, Marcus returned to his gym. A new sign hung above the door, Ghost Tactical Training for the Brave. Inside, veterans and teenagers trained side by side. Marcus watched them, peaceful for the first time in years, picked up his dog tags and hung them on the wall above the flag. For the ones we lost, he said quietly, then turned back to his students. The camera zooms out, the city alive again, safer, stronger, and the voiceover fades in. You can strip a man of his home, his name, his medals, but you can never take the warrior out of his soul. It had been 6 months since Marcus Ghostwalker took down the Black Serpent Syndicate. His gym, Ghost Tactical, had become more than a training center. It was a sanctuary for veterans, kids, and survivors who wanted to rebuild. For the first time in years, Marcus had peace, but peace is a fragile thing. One rainy morning, he got a call from Detective Hernandez. Walker, I need you to see something, she said. This isn't just another gang problem. At the precinct, she slid a tablet across the table. On the screen was footage, a convoy ambushed outside San Diego. Explosions, military precision, 0 survivors. The attackers wore tactical gear with a familiar mark, a black serpent coiled around a skull. Marcus's jaw tightened. I thought we ended them. Hernandez nodded grimly. You ended Rex's cell. But the serpent, it's global. And whoever's leading it now, they're coming for you. That night, Marcus returned to his gym only to find someone waiting inside. A man in a sharp suit, military haircut, and an authoritative calm. Marcus Walker, he said. Name's Colonel Briggs, U.S. Defense Intelligence. We've been watching your work. Marcus crossed his arms. I'm not interested in going back. Briggs chuckled. You're not being asked to enlist. We're building a covert strike division, Ghost Division, operatives with military backgrounds, working off the books to dismantle the Serpent network before it spreads. Marcus said nothing. Briggs handed him a folder. Inside was a photo of Lena. She's on their list, Briggs said. Rex's replacement wants revenge for what you did. Marcus's eyes darkened. When do we start? Weeks later, deep in a desert training compound, Marcus stood in full tactical gear again, but this time, as leader of a 4-person unit, Maya Torres, ex-Navy sniper, haunted by guilt but deadly calm. Rico Kane, demolition expert and streetwise joker from Chicago, Jordan Liu, tech genius and drone operator, fresh out of the Marines, their mission, infiltrate a Serpent weapons facility hidden in the ruins of an abandoned oil refinery in Baja, Mexico. Briggs' voice came through comms. Walker, this is Black Ops. No insignias, no backup. You fail, we never met. Marcus replied, copy that. Ghost Division, move out. Under cover of darkness, the team approached the compound. Marcus led silently, motioning hand signals, precise, fluid. His marine instincts took over, snipers on the towers. Guards by the gates, Torres whispered, I got eyes on 3. Permission to engage? Negative, Marcus said. No noise. We ghost in, ghost out. They slipped inside, silent as shadows. Jordan hacked into the security system, disabling cameras. Rico planted EMP charges near the main generator. Everything was smooth until a guard stumbled across them. Shots fired, alarm blared, mission blown, Plan B. Marcus shouted. Go loud. The compound erupted in gunfire. Explosions tore through steel walls. Marcus moved through smoke and chaos, taking down enemies with surgical precision. Finally, they reached the command room, and on the screen was a face they didn't expect. The man on the screen smiled coldly. Hello, Ghost. Marcus froze. Rex? The man laughed. Not quite. My name's Victor Kellen. Rex was my brother. Marcus's heart sank. You're his twin. Victor continued, you killed him, Marine. And now, I'm going to make sure everyone you love burns for it, starting with that woman, Lena. The feed cut out. Seconds later, explosions rocked the facility. Rico barely disarmed a bomb as the team escaped through the smoke, sprinting toward their evac chopper. Marcus looked back at the burning compound, the Serpent mark glowing through the fire. This isn't over, he muttered. Back at the US base, the team debriefed. But something was off. Briggs avoided questions. Mission files disappeared. Funding vanished overnight. Torres confronted him privately only to discover the truth. Briggs wasn't clean. He'd been taking money from the Serpent network, feeding them intel in exchange for power. When Marcus found out, rage burned behind his calm voice. You sold out your own men. Briggs didn't flinch. This isn't about loyalty anymore, Ghost. It's about survival. The world's changing and you're fighting a war that's already lost. Marcus clenched his fists. Then I'll fight it alone. He walked out, leaving his badge, his orders and his chains behind. Days later, Marcus vanished off the grid. The government declared the Ghost Division terminated. But survivors knew better. Somewhere in a desert safe house, Marcus trained in silence, shooting, running, rebuilding his own war gear. The Serpent had gone global, but now he wasn't fighting for a flag, was fighting for redemption. One by one, he reconnected with his team: Torres, Rico, Jordan. Off the record, they were hunted, outlawed, betrayed. But together, they became something new, the Ghost Unit. In a hidden bunker beneath the city, the team watched satellite footage of Victor Kellen arriving in Hong Kong. Marcus loaded his rifle, eyes steady. New country. Same mission. Rico grinned. We really doing this without backup? Marcus smirked. We don't need backup. We are the backup. The screen cut to black as the sound of a plane engine roared. Text fades in.